Are we on?
Yeah.
So here's
Go
the thing.
for it.
Here's the thing. I saved this for the podcast. Your wife is not your friend. Okay, I'm not going to go in the reason for that. Let me steer it to
Maybe
Brett
you
Derouen.
should.
No. Your wife is your wife. She's not your friend. Okay.
Yeah.
And she doesn't like football. My wife doesn't like football. We don't relate. We relate on hardly anything. Actually,
It's true.
our relationship is so much deeper than just a friendship. But this is not about my wife right now. It's about Brett Derouen. It took Brett about 10 minutes to become one of my solid friends. My best friend would be Danny Thursby, CD and D2, coming at you recording direct from the Classic House. We spent a lot of time. I've spent a lot of time together
A
with.
podcast that you refuse to start back up, but you're plugging it.
Well, I'm plugging it. I'm actually plugging it for a reason, but we won't go there. This is a secret. We're not going to go there.
Oh, okay. All right.
Daniel Lawrence. I've spent a lot of time with Daniel Lawrence. He's one of my best friends. Then I have Ryan. He's a little on the paranoid side, so he wouldn't want me to say his last name. He exceeded friend. Okay, he's now a brother to me, my best man in my wedding, all that. Brett Derouen. It took him about 10 minutes to become in one of my solid friend groups. He reminds me of me, except better. Better. One thing that I said about Brett around another friend was when you leave Brett's presence, you just can't help but smile. Nobody says that about Cole Dixon. They say that about Brett Derouen. You just can't help but smile when you're around Brett. And we're talking about the Middle East. I'm about to stop here, but this is a good segue. Okay, so there's some.
This is good segue.
No, I'm about to get into a good segue. Brett and I went to Morocco for a business trip. We'll just say.
Yeah.
And we walked an hour to go to this really cool barbershop. It was worth the walk. We didn't regret it at all.
My wife said best haircut I ever
we end
got.
up
She wants to
spending-
send me back there.
We ended up spending
How
4
do
hours
you-
at this barbershop.
How do you hear about a barbershop? And
Google.
you Googled it and you were like, yeah, that's
Google.
what we want to do here.
We found
And
one.
we stopped and tried to barter a couple along the way.
Yeah, and we found one. We're like, this isn't cutting it. So we kept walking to this one place, and
No
it was
pun intended.
amazing.
yeah.
It was amazing.
It was amazing. I wish I could give a plug to him right now in case anybody's ever in Morocco.
But like gentlemen.
But listen.
something.
While we were there,
Careful.
while we were there, I'm getting a haircut, and lo and behold, Brett is putting a smile on the face on some other random Moroccan man, starting up a conversation.
Moroccan Japanese guy.
Brett is just a
That's an
gifted,
interesting
a
combo.
gifted individual. You cannot help but love him. Not like him.
That's
You can't
true.
help but love him. Puts a smile on your face. Brett Derouen, everyone. Yeah. What a good friend. What a guy. What a guy.
Half the man Cole is, and that's why when we get into a pinch,
Totally.
I get
untrue.
behind him. He knows more jiu-jitsu than me,
Very untrue.
and he's
You did almost get us jumped one day.
that's right. That's right.
But
I'm a lot
it's
more
laughs.
gullible than him.
We're all laughs.
Yeah.
We're all laughs, okay?
But we make a good team.
We do. We make a
Make
great
a good team.
We make a fantastic team.
And that's why I'm recruiting Cole. He doesn't. He does.
You're
know it.
recruiting them.
I don't.
He does know it.
To do what? I don't know. But anyways.
Something awesome.
Something
Epic.
awesome. Yeah, something awesome. Thank you guys for having us on the podcast. I'll just stop talking.
Well, we want you to talk.
We want you to talk once we start the podcast.
We're here to have a good time. We're having a good time here.
We'll try and work that in. That's hilarious.
We got the doctrine of God and Coca-Cola in the same background.
Oh yeah.
In your background.
It is pretty cool.
Isn't that cool?
This is
It
a
is.
cool place.
You guys have put a lot of work into this. And I'd say keep it up. Just keep it up.
Not as much as you probably think, but as far as building it, yes. But as far as like decorations and stuff, like no, I just like threw stuff.
Yeah,
up there, so
the
it's like-
decorations took like an afternoon. The building took like 2 summers.
it wasn't that.
It wasn't that.
It was
long, but
bad.
it was
You guys
pretty
are
bad.
awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
All right. Are we ready?
We're ready, man. I'm
Let's
fired
do
up.
it.
I can see. All
I
right.
feed off of Brett Derouen. I'm just ready to go.
All right,
You better be ready for a 5-hour podcast.
Wait till about 11 o'clock.
I'm wondering if we're ever gonna have to switch the
kind of podcast.
Not man enough at night.
I don't
Not
know.
man enough after hours.
I'm afraid we're going to switch the cameras one time. Y'all are going to just be like hugging over there.
No, we won't be doing that. We won't be doing that. I promise you that. But I love the guy. I love him. And he loves me.
I do.
We'd fight for each other. I would die for Brett Derouen. And he would die for me.
Absolutely.
I mean that actually. I say that in a funny way. But on that trip, man, it just showed us there's a spiritual thing about it. And it's a spiritual connection when you have unity with someone, you know. A unity where you can laugh, but the laughs and stuff are actually just kind of surface level. There's something much deeper. When you start talking man to man with someone in a one-on-one conversation, it's just a deep conversation, you know? And that's not of men, that's of the spirit. And that's what I have with you guys also. But I've had the opportunity to really just get there with BD and CD.
I think there's a brotherhood aspect of like when you go to battle together.
Right.
There's something about that.
Yes,
Oh yeah, for sure.
You drop me and Cole in enemy territory.
And we're just like, where's the nearest coffee shop?
Yeah. All right. We need some
Where can we get our haircut at? Is what y'all asked.
All right. Coffee and haircuts is a whole $5 there. All right.
Yes, sir.
You know,
I just couldn't
Brett's
imagine
going to get us
landing,
jumped on the way, but we're going to get there.
Landing, and the first thing that you're thinking is barbershop. Let me look up a barbershop.
for sure.
That's hilarious.
My man Cole though, he knows what's up.
I just realized the depravity of man, whereas I don't think Brett always gets that. That man is out to get you.
Yeah, I'm more gullible than him, but I think they're all. I really think they genuinely want to be my friends.
Right.
He's
They don't.
swaps, man.
And Cole says they don't want to be your friends.
My brother.
All right,
Usually 100
brother.
But
brother,
for you, I make deal. I make deal.
brother,
Yeah.
my brother.
All of a sudden they're Russian, they're Middle Eastern. I make deal. In my country.
I guess it's
All right, guys, this is your podcast. Take it over. We're not even into the intro yet.
We had some of this might make it in.
Oh, this is
Okay.
We'll make it in.
This is great.
All right. We'll start up. All right. I don't even know where to go with this at this point, but y'all are ready to talk, so we're good.
Fired up.
We're fired up.
Welcome back to Not Man Enough Podcast, and we have two guests. There you go. We have Brett is here for the second episode in a row. If you haven't caught the previous episode with Brett on it, I highly recommend going back and watching and listening to that, whatever your preference, but it's a good one. And also we have Cole, which is returning. He's returning.
I'm back.
He's back. Last time, what'd you do with us last time as far as, was it how to read your Bible?
Right.
Yeah.
And a good little 1-year Bible reading plan.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay. Awesome. We have y'all back and y'all are good friends. So this is easy. This is
Gross.
This will be fun. And also, hopefully it'll be deep.
yeah, I hope so.
I saw some of the questions and stuff. It could get very, very serious and needed. You know, all the laughs and stuff, all the laughs aside, there will be a lot of laughs, but it is something that I take seriously.
Right.
It's a topic I take seriously. So,
And it's the topic of Islam is what we'll be talking about. And there's a reason why is because both of y'all have invested in that area quite a bit. Brett, we didn't get into it last time. We didn't really get there. But your plan was to go on the mission field to Muslim countries and by the way, remind me before we end, because there is something that we forgot to mention something last time.
Yeah.
A ministry that you were really interested in and starting up.
I have it in my notes.
Yeah, I want, don't let me forget about that. Anyway, starting off, give us a backstory of how y'all got into the study, the interest, the heart to go to these countries with Islam and stuff like that. Let's just start there of how y'all kind of got mixed up in this stuff of like missions and that type of thing.
I'll start because it won't take very long to kind of give a quick summary. When I was 19 years old, I took a class called Perspectives, which caused me to realize how, well, first off, it taught me what the 1040 window is. 1040 window.
I know the 1040 window.
Yeah. Yep. It's a geographical term for a large body of land on the globe that has little to no mission work at all, meaning little to no evangelism, little to no church planting or church movements or church works at all throughout that. And there's most of the population in the world is there. So I realized that in this class, and I was very broken over that. And I prayed to the Lord, Lord, please send me there, because I would love to preach the glory of Jesus Christ to people who most likely will never hear the name Jesus Christ at all. And that includes all of the Middle East, of course, all of it. And when I was 19, I told my wife, she and I were married at the time for 6 months or so. I told her, hey, how about we go to the Middle East one day? That then led into connections in Turkey years ago. And from Turkey, the Lord chose not to open that door for us at the time. I then worked at a job where I was working with the Middle East for 2 years, and so I was able to travel to the Middle East. I traveled to 3 of the 5 North African countries, many of the Middle Eastern countries as we know them, all the way over to the Stand countries, which is, depending on where you look at it, is sometimes included in the Middle East, sometimes is not. Demographically, they have more dissimilarities than similarities to Middle Eastern countries.
This is the 1040 window, isn't it?
Yes. So you just pulled up to the 1040 window. It goes from, it includes a lot of European countries, which would be considered reached. Now, many people are going to start attacking me on the definitions of reached, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But if you look at most of those countries, it has hardly any churches at all. There's a lot of either staunch atheism in China or staunch Islam in the Middle Eastern countries.
India
and I wanted
is included in that.
India,
a billion Hindus.
Right. India is really a continent, not only a country, but a continent on its own.
Well, something that's interesting, I didn't mean to interrupt, is
no, you're fine.
Because it ends up being it's a window, they're trying to square it off. Does Spain and France belong in there, or does that just happen to be in there because it falls in that box?
I think that particular 1040 window there is a little bit liberal. It includes a lot more countries than usual.
That's pretty big right there.
But with the exception of like Greece and the European countries, if you look at most of those countries, I believe it's like 2 or 3. Maybe you can Google this, man. I'm going to start hurling facts that are just not facts at all, but like 3 billion people there. Okay.
Yeah.
Extremely dense.
Yeah, but less than 1% Christianity. And so I wanted to, where do you start? The Middle East.
Yeah.
And so I started to look into Middle Eastern culture, the Quran just a little bit, and then how to reach Muslims for the sake of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's my story. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, similar in terms of as a very young Christian, I mean, just, shared my testimony last time, but just being fired up about the Lord. And man, I want to tell everybody about Jesus and and just hearing about, well, there's people in the world that have never even heard of Jesus, will live and die, and centuries of these people and their ancestors will never hear about Christ. And there's entire countries that it's just illegal to be a Christian, and it just kind of boggles your mind, and you hear more and more about it. And then I think also as my faith grew, my theology deepened, just really realizing about the glory of Christ and just like the supremacy of Christ, and how like Christ is a king. He is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. He's not the Jesus I grew up with in the Catholic Church that's, weak and on the cross and just, he's a nice guy, but he can't really do much. No, this is the Son of Man. The nations are going to bow down to him. He's going to rule the nations with a rod of iron.
Right.
You know? And all of this stuff has hit me about it. But I'll tell you, there was one person in particular in my life, a man at my old church back in California that really mentored me and discipled me. And he had such a heart for missions, and he was just fired up and passionate about missions and to the Muslim world too. And actually, his daughter, our church sent her out to a Muslim majority country. And, you know, I think through all of that, through that relationship with that family, I just started to learn, you know, about the 1040 window, and there's a lot of religions included in that, but
yeah,
just Islam just really just keeps coming up. You look at the most, the world persecuted list, the you know, pretty much all of them are Muslim countries, you know?
Yeah.
You look at the most unreached places in the world, they're Muslim countries. Not to mention, you turn on the news, you look at where we're fighting wars, you look at you know 9/11, it's touching everything. You know? It's a big problem, and I started to study it, and it's like, man, this is a very big foe.
Yeah.
For Jesus Christ. This is a big a big enemy. A big idol that needs to be crushed. And such a formidable, you want to talk about for 1400 years. This thing has been around.
Yeah.
And you know, a quarter of the world's population are following this stuff. It blows my mind. And then as I started to kind of like Cole just hear about the need and just say, and Lord, I want to go. I want to go.
Yeah.
I want to be one of the ones. How beautiful are the feet of those that bring the good news. There's nothing that I can think of a better way to spend my life, or a way that I would want to. And so I just started to pray, and really that God would give me opportunities to evangelize Muslims. And over the years, that maybe I'll get into it, but just God started bringing them all in my path.
Yeah.
You know, and have some pretty cool, you know, I mean, all of these places, Central Asia, North Africa, the Middle East, I've got some kind of friend or connection, both actually Muslims and Christians now.
Yeah.
But have and gotten to go to a couple of these places too. And yeah, it's just a passion of mine, and mainly just to see this, to see Christ's glory to spread abroad to all of these nations, and to see him get the victory that he deserves. We know it's coming.
That's
right. The thing about it is that we know it's coming. It's going to happen. We can read the book of Revelation and see every tribe and tongue and language and people. So it's like, what are, you know, ISIS, the Taliban, like, who are you, man? Get out of the way.
Right. So
Taliban.
Just to get a little bit of context, because I don't know, like, out of this room, I probably know the least amount. Not that I don't know anything about Islam, but it's just I probably don't know like the numbers and stuff like that or whatever. But so you said a quarter of the world is involved in Islam. Is it, if a quarter of the world is that, what is Christian? Like, so what would be considered Christianity, like the percentage?
Well,
I'm not talking about
little bit bigger.
obviously
Just raw
Roman
numbers.
Catholics would be thrown in there.
And that's
stuff,
where numbers are skewed.
Right.
Because so Protestant Christians would be definitely behind probably Catholics and
Right.
Muslims together. And when we start talking about evangelical Christians,
Okay.
so let's be broad here. Evangelicalism, which would not include Catholicism and things like that,
Right.
would be at the very best third. So it'd be number one, Catholicism, and Matt is Googling this right now. Number one, my guess would be Catholicism. Two, Islam. Maybe even Islam, number one. Catholicism, number two. Evangelicalism, number three.
Yeah.
And then you start to get into Hinduism, number
a lot
four,
of people would want to lump Catholicism in with it.
Christianity. It's going to be lumped into...
Obviously, we wouldn't go there, but just out of
So
curiosity.
it'd be number one, Christianity.
Number one, Christianity.
Number one, Christianity.
Okay.
Right behind it, number two, Islam.
Okay. Is Islam the fastest growing religion right now?
See, even those numbers are skewed because you're born Muslim. And so it depends on how many babies they
Okay.
have.
I got you.
So all of the statistics when we start talking about numbers are fairly skewed, and it's tough to say. Nonetheless, Muslims take pride in their heritage and culture, and they identify as Muslim.
Yes.
And so if you count that, then the Muslim would be the fastest growing. But as far as proselytizing, there's very little proselytizing, especially in our day.
Yeah.
Because historically speaking, proselytization came by the sword.
Right.
In Islam.
It's conquering.
It did not come. In fact, if there were any Muslim missionaries that were sent, it was Shia Muslim, or it was Muslim sent to Muslim. For example, the Fatimids in, I believe, the 11th or 12th century would send missionaries to Sunni Muslims. So the Fatimids were Shia Muslims. They would send Shia missionaries to Sunni lands to try to
Convert them to their
to Shia. Islam.
right. So it would almost be like a. I mean, if you were thinking of it in Christian terms, it would be like a reform guy going into charismatic circles and trying to say, "Hey, guys, we got the more proper view. Let's come over
sort
here."
Of stuff.
Yeah,
very little conversion to Islam,
right?
Purely off of like doctrine to doctrine. Hey, your doctrine doesn't stand. Your worldview doesn't stand. Come be a Muslim. Rather, it came by the sword historically.
So I will push back a little. That is probably the historical, definitely the historical norm for 1400 years. But we are living in such a strange day of globalism.
Yes,
where
that's true.
There is conversions in Europe. There is conversions, especially when Islam has, and they call it dawah, but it's evangelism. And especially where you have in Western countries where they don't have the mass numbers, they don't have the state on their side, they do try to persuade and swoop people into Islam. And there is famous people that do convert, such as Andrew Tate.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Cassius, what's his last name? Google it. Cassius Clay converted to
You tell me to
Right.
to Muhammad Ali.
Right.
What was his last name?
That's a
Cassius Clay.
common thing.
Is it Cassius Clay, Jonathan? What was
is
his original name? Cassius Clay.
Oh, I don't know.
He was right before your time. Muhammad Ali. He was not originally
Right before my time.
He was not originally
Ali.
named Muhammad Ali. He was
Muhammad
Cassius
Ali
Clay.
was I don't remember.
I know who you're talking about.
Cassius Clay.
Yeah.
His name was Cassius Clay, but he converts to Islam.
Yeah.
Now, but for that doesn't really count because Malcolm X would not have been a Muslim. He would have been Nation of Islam.
Right.
There's a difference.
I don't even count
And
that.
even Muhammad Ali would have been Nation of Islam.
Okay.
I don't even count
So-
the
to your point,
black
let's-
heretical
yeah,
Muslims
let's get your
that
point.
Right.
they would call them. But like, man, you can go on YouTube and find white women,
Yes, I'm looking at
single
it.
women.
I'm
that
looking at it right now.
Converts to Islam.
By marriage.
That's definitely true. But
Marital
but
evangelism.
I heard one testimony of this girl. The Muslims invite her to their house. They and they're
It's
just like any other.
disproportionately
Honestly, they
female.
act like any other cult.
Yeah.
They're very nice. They're on the surface. It is appealing. I do believe that it doesn't get 1400 years of traction, but it is appealing to your flesh.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
so easy.
Well,
And it is and in the gap, it fills a gap that secularism doesn't fill.
Yeah.
You get these European people that they're apostate Christians or have some kind of apostate Christian heritage, and they're sick of secularism and LGBTQ and this.
Yeah.
And by the way, we let in a couple million Muslim migrants here, and what they're saying sounds pretty good.
Let me, going off of what you're saying, I just pulled this up. Now, this is AI, so, take it or leave it, whatever. But I just pulled it up, and it said conversion to Islam among native Europeans is an increasing trend driven by marriage, spiritual seeking, and in some cases, the adoption of conservative values.
Yep.
And if you go down, it's demographic, it's marriage and social factors, motivations. Converts often cite the spiritual, clear, and structured lifestyle of Islam is appealing. Some find it as a new start, and it is overwhelmingly in Europe, it's women.
That's odd to me.
I
would have guessed
crazy.
Men. It makes sense if it's marriage, if it's marrying a Muslim.
It doesn't sound like it's just that, though.
Yeah.
It's definitely not just that. They talk a good game. And and here's the thing. We can go watch James White debates. They've got their apologists. They do. They're not, at this day and age too, there is some conquering by the sword. But the ones that want a seat at the world table know that now they're going to have to contend for the faith. And one thing about the women converting too is I think there is this. You think about the Andrew Tate thing, is there's a masculinity gap right now.
Yeah.
There is a masculinity gap, and in the feminism and all this.
You will not fight. They will not fight for their God. If you
Yes.
did that
And so these Muslims come and they've got this at least somewhat masculine.
They'll at least fight for
That's right.
their prophet.
Yeah. I mean,
Where we let Jesus Christ be mocked, and it's like totally okay. We're tolerant. We're doormats, right?
Yeah.
We can hear a man mock Jesus Christ, and we'll let it slide.
Yeah.
Whereas if you try to mock Muhammad, no matter how nominal,
They're about to throw down.
no matter how nominal the Muslim is, there's a lot of nominal Muslims because, again, most of them were born Muslim.
Right.
Yeah.
Not everybody who says they're Muslim is practicing in the the degree.
That's the one thing you
Even
don't
with the
say.
ones who are not practicing, you mock Muhammad, is fight time.
That's one thing you don't say.
Whereas usually with the most devout Christian, you can mock Jesus Christ and we let it slide. And so men look at that and they say, wow, I guess the true God is Allah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so let's be Muslim, because these people actually have conviction, because conviction, to Brett's point, is attractive.
Let's grab onto that.
And that's why the women are coming.
Yeah.
Because they're following the men.
Point, since we brought it up, I thought I'd say it. The numbers are, it's like you said, one Christian of population, if it's just including, I'm assuming that includes anyone who says Christian.
I mean, that's all
it's like 2.3 billion.
Sure.
Muslims like 2.1, 2.2 billion.
United Methodist, you come on in.
Yeah.
We'll bring you in on this.
Unitarians.
It's a lot worse than that.
Right.
Mormon.
Right.
We'll bring you into our statistics.
Yeah.
You might even have Jehovah Witnesses in there.
I think it would include all that. But I asked...
But Islam would have
particularly-
all the heretical groups of Islam.
It does too.
True. Yeah.
But I asked just Protestant Christianity, just so it would separate that in general because of all the nominal Catholics around the world. And it's around 500 to 600 million, but
Which is
around
a small number.
around almost 300 million is Pentecostal.
So
in Africa, Brazil.
Yeah.
Which let's be clear on this though. And this is a side note. There are a lot of good Pentecostal brothers.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love some good Pentecostal friends.
Yes.
So, anyways, no. So
I guess I want to just kind of get this in real quick and kind of deal with this really quick, because the reason why we're talking about Islam is we're interacting with it yet again at greater levels, but it seems like there's a lot of misinformation about what Islam is and what we can just get along with them, and like if we just leave them alone, they'll leave us alone type of attitude and stuff like that. And you're even hearing from people that are professing Christians that are famous saying things like, we serve the same God, Allah. You have the Pope. The last Pope said that.
I mean, this is right now.
We
the
serve
Pope
the same
is
God.
fighting Donald Trump
Right.
Yeah.
So
The Pope was in Algeria.
right. I mean,
Like yesterday.
but my point is how would y'all respond to the people that are trying to kind of glaze over the differences and say, you know what, Allah is just a different name for our God of the Old Testament. You know, you'll hear crazy things like that. And also it's like, it's not really that bad.
Yeah.
Like
Or-
it's compatible with our society or church.
Yeah.
Or real quick to put a finer point.
Yeah,
on
go
it, too,
ahead.
I'll direct quote. I wrote this down, so I'm going to read it real quick of the recent Tucker Carlson.
Yes.
Quote of where he tweeted out, posted whatever. I always say tweet, but just the first line. The people in charge don't want you to know this. Muslims love Jesus.
What
Yeah.
Jesus?
Yeah. So, number one, Tucker Carlson doesn't count because he has a house in Qatar. So chances are he was bought out.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Chances are he was bought out by the king over there in Qatar, who has a ton of money,
A lot of money.
a lot of oil money,
lot
buddy.
of money.
He was probably bought out because he starts talking about covenant theology, gets a little bit shaky, and then he starts talking about Islam. Like, okay, this guy was bought out. To answer your question, I think it is a very lazy way of viewing things in the world in general when Christians start saying that, well, it's not a big deal here. Actually, the Islam here in America is worse than the Islam in, let's say, Egypt. Now, past couple of decades, Egypt has a lot of issues with the Muslim Brotherhood, which is simply pure Islam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to be clear.
They're true to their roots, in other words, yeah.
Let me lay out my thesis here at the very beginning, because this would kind of give a framework of everything else I'm going to say in this podcast.
Okay.
There is no radical versus nominal Islam. There's either pure Islam or false Islam.
Yeah, and faithful Islam versus unfaithful. Yes.
And you'll start to hear the term Islamism. It's a fake term, doesn't exist. There's either true Islam, which are the radical Islamists. If you listen to Osama bin Laden of what he said, the Wahhabi Muslims, the Wahhabi are the strictest of the strict Muslims. They just wanted to get back to the roots of Muhammad himself. There is no radical Islam. Like, because when you start talking about radical Muslims, you think, oh, they're these weird guys who started to add stuff to the doctrine. No, they're just trying to be purely
They're
Muslim.
trying to be pure, yeah.
They're trying to be consistent Muslims. There is no, I mean, now the suicide bombing and stuff like that is a new doctrine. It's actually contradictory to Muslim doctrine. It started in 1983 by Iran and Hezbollah,
Shocker.
things like that. But
Yeah.
to stay on your point, the Muslims here in the West are I would say, personally, opinion-wise, doctrinally, ideologically, the worst, because they're trying to take over the West. They're trying to, you don't see them adopting their culture to Western culture.
No.
In fact, you see them trying to take over Western culture for our culture.
It's what you're seeing in Europe,
Western culture for theirs.
but it's undercover here. But the same thing's trying to be done here.
Right.
And I, correct me if I'm wrong, but basically what you're saying is because, and really speak up and correct me if I'm wrong, but they can deceive and that's okay.
Right.
As long as it's in the realm of like promoting, Islam, then, hey, if I'm spreading Islam, I can lie to you, I can deceive you, whatever it takes. And so it's like, yeah, they'll say nice things. They'll seem like they care and all these other things. But if they're true to Islam, that's not their goal, is to love you.
Right.
Right. It's like, it's not a religion that's driven by love.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on top of that, and I'm sorry, Brett, but
No.
One more thing to add is that how lazy and how selfish it is to say, well, it's not that big of a deal as to how I see it. I know a lot of Muslims that they're good people. It's kind of like saying, I know
And
a
there
lot
are good, I'm sure they're good. There are some that are good people. Yeah.
Most definitely there are.
Right,
I could sit, and I want to be clear, I could sit down and have coffee with a Muslim for 6 hours and have a great conversation.
Right.
And a very civil conversation. But by and large, like the Islamic takeover. Well, I don't see it very much in my land, so it must not be a big deal. Like, that's, for one, a lazy, for two, a selfish way of viewing it, because you don't understand Islam.
Yeah.
You don't understand it in its historicity, how it, in its very nature, it is an imperializing religion.
That's
and number two, it is a intolerant, it's a state religion. Wherever it goes, it expects the state to follow.
It's a theocracy.
It is a theocracy, and so there is no compatibilism. There is no incorporation. It is just complete takeover. And so it doesn't matter. I only see 5 Muslims in Little Rock, which we see way more in Little Rock.
Right.
But guess what they're trying to do? And guess what 5 Muslims equal? Later on, it equals 5,000 Muslims. It equals 500,000.
Yeah,
and
there's
not going to be
kids.
churches planted by the increase of Islam.
Look at
There'll be
Minnesota.
mosques. I mean, look at Minnesota.
Man. You got 100,000 Somalis. You've got a very difficult group of people to deal with.
Yeah. That was one of I brought this up earlier, I think, when I was talking to you, is one of the things I just finished listening to that book on like the war between Islam and Christendom, pretty much.
Raymond Ibrahim.
Yeah.
I would plug him. He's a good.
Yeah, really good book. The Sword and the Scimitar. And anyways, one of the things, it's like you've seen this all through history, is where what you were saying of that kind of subjective, like they're over there, they're not bothering us. And you saw that through some of these wars of where it's like Spain's getting conquered and some of the surrounding nations like, that's their problem. Well, then they come knocking on their door because it's
expansion.
Yeah. One of the thoughts I thought of listening through this book is, as Christians, and we'll talk about this more, but as Christians, we're followers of Christ. We follow Christ. We try and live as Christ lived. It's like that's our goal, is to be more Christ-like. And we'll go back to the founder of Islam, Muhammad. What was he? They're following this prophet, Muhammad. And it's like, well, he was a warmonger. He conquered by the sword and stuff. So it's like, even then, it's like, I think you should be cautious around the whole religion as a whole, because, your founder of this religion was a man who conquered by the sword. Yeah. Who his whole goal, that was the whole premise of the religion.
Right.
So you hear Tucker Carlson saying, going back to him, he says stuff like, it wouldn't be so bad living in a city that was under Sharia law. The crime would be low.
It is true, but you know
how
you get that. How you get there is with a
you chop someone's hand off for stealing. It's equal weights and measures has no what I'm saying? Like that doesn't exist.
The reality is though that Islam, man, it didn't come about in a vacuum. And one point on the whole, like, well, they're over there and we're over here. One thing I would say to that is that, do you realize that all these places in the Bible that you're reading about, you know, that the Apostle Paul once preached the gospel in Ephesus, modern day Turkey, that the great church fathers, Augustine, Cyprian, Athanasius, the guy who penned the Trinity, who was, that North Africa used to be the Bible Belt.
Iraq.
That's right.
It used to be the Bible Belt. And now it is, in the 90%, some of these places, 99% Muslim. Yeah. And so it's something that we need to.
Christianity is out.
Their religion doesn't allow for it to just stay over there. And just in case somebody's tempted to say they're over there, we don't have to worry about it. We're fine here because we're the U.S. I just looked up the estimated. Now, this is from 2015 to 2018 recent reports. I guess we don't have anything up to date. But it says how many I just typed in how many Muslim immigrants in the U.S. There's an estimated 3.3 to 3.5 million Muslims living in the U.S. as of recent reports. So that the total population, that's not just a ridiculous amount when it's like 1%, but like y'all said, they're having kids and they're having and since then, especially the Biden administration, I would say you've brought in tons that have taken over cities and stuff. I mean, honestly, there's the call to prayer. And what city is it in the
New
US?
York. New York's got a Muslim mayor. Dearborn, Michigan.
Yeah.
But New
St.
York,
Paul,
New York. I
Minnesota.
watched
Anyway,
video the other day.
New
Times
York that
Square.
got hit by the planes is
Yeah.
now elected a Muslim mayor.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Can you pull up, Matt, a map of the Muslim majority countries in the world? Quick Google search will give it to us.
Yeah, I can get
Now, I
that.
want to show you this.
What do you want? The Muslim.
The UK
Muslim-
would be in one of them. But
Muslim majority countries. And the UK is not, it's actually a small percentage,
10%.
you know, and
Higher.
that's probably, it's hard to, you know, it might be more like 15, 20%. And when you go, there's 1 million Muslims in London.
Okay. I don't know if this is what you're looking at. It says key Muslim majority countries. Highest.
just
Click on
Muslim
images.
majority
The first
country,
image should
Muslim-
be
Muslim world.
like a Wikipedia.
Now I'm gonna you're gonna pull up this map, and this is now you want to talk about
Is it this
a
one?
bit of an empire? Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, that should work.
Now this thing stretches similar with the 1040 window, but the
No,
1040
this is the
window.
largest. It said the largest Muslim populations,
There you go.
Oh.
majority.
I mean that gives you a good idea, but
Yeah.
this thing.
But
This
what does
thing
it have?
stretches-
India?
Well, there's 200 million Muslims in India.
India does have a
the
lot of
largest
There's 200
Muslim
There's
populations.
200 million.
Not
People don't understand that.
Muslim majority. so
India
this a little
is
bit different.
highly Hindu and also.
But there is
yeah.
what is the Taj Mahal?
Yeah.
Who do you think built that? Hindus? No, that was Muslims.
Yeah.
But this thing
Man,
stretches
when was
from
the Taj Mahal?
Morocco to Indonesia. Do you know how vast amounts of land that is? Now, Indonesia, you go to what people don't realize is that Indonesia, the most Muslims in the one country in the world is Indonesia. You know how far that is from the Arab Peninsula where this thing started? Do you know how culturally different people in
Bro.
Indonesia are than Arabs? Now, you tell me, you know, sitting over here in Conway, Arkansas, that it couldn't stretch over here.
Right.
Oh yeah,
And I'm going to tell you, you're crazy.
Right.
You know?
yeah.
You don't know.
No,
history.
that's
and
a
it's
great
and
point.
it's something that we need to, and not just like we need to be all fearful that they're going to come and take over our country and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It's not that at all. Even though if I wasn't a politician, it's something you very much need to consider in your political policy and
100%.
be inviting them in.
Shouldn't
But as-
consider it. You should do action right now to
Yeah.
prevent it. Like there's no consideration. We're beyond
But-
consideration point.
But what
Yeah.
I'm saying is that also this too, that yes, your average the average Muslim you're gonna meet on the streets that's coming here, he's just like you, man. The guy puts his pants on just like you. He has a wife, he has kids. He just wants to he wants to live his life, and he wants to we're cut from the same cloth, you know what I mean? And that you really, it's like you ought to have a compassion for these people.
Yeah.
You want to talk about too some of these places, Bangladesh. You know, me and my
Yeah.
wife watched a documentary on Bangladesh, one of the most poorest places in the world. Just a very Nigeria.
Is
You know,
so, and this is a little bit off subject,
yeah.
and I don't want to sidetrack the whole conversation, but do you think some of the issue is that a lot of the missionaries and missions that we have exported from America have been weak,
Definitely.
and it's been mainly like name it and claim it and all that, and you send them to these poor countries, and it's a weak gospel, if a gospel at all.
for sure. They have no respect for it because
Yeah,
they have no respect. They have no respect because
it's not respectable.
Yeah,
like
it's
honestly,
not
yeah.
respectable, and
Yeah.
But-
I really think the masculinity thing plays
Yeah.
a part in it too.
Yeah. Well, I
You
also
know that
think
the
of-
most missionaries sent overseas are
Yeah.
majority women,
Yeah.
single women. I don't know the exact stat, but it's
Oh,
big.
man, I gotta look that up.
60, 70%, something like that.
I mean, that's believable.
And so you guys are going to send a bunch. They look at you like, okay, your religion's so great and your king's so great that you send us your single women. Seriously. To come and, it's like, why should we follow this,
Yeah. Well, I think also some has to do with it too is how Islam functions too. Is it's not a religion that you can just go, like I can't go to Somalia and just walk down the street preaching the gospel. It's like, I won't last.
No.
It's like,
They'll cut you down.
it just won't happen.
Dude,
Most of the
this
countries
is-
you can't go do that in. Now there's some, probably like you get away with maybe Egypt or Turkey or something like that. But even then, I guarantee you,
Matter of time.
there's laws that it's against the law to do that.
Matter
Yes,
of time.
there's somebody who was street preaching in Kakadon Square in Istanbul, Turkey, and he got beat up for it. So
Yeah.
And that's like,
But I'm
Turkey
even
would be
speaking
secular is one of the best.
the government itself. Like one of the things I was looking up of, speaking of Qatar, it's like one of the things we keep bringing up Tucker, but it's just because a prominent person who's talking about this saying, "Oh, well, there's more Christians in Qatar." Well, I was listening
They're
to someone.
Filipinos.
Well, they're not citizens.
They're not
They're
Qataris.
workers. They're immigrants. They're working there. They have no rights there, and it's illegal to be a citizen, a Christian and a citizen in Qatar. Like you can't do that. You can't hold
They're
office. You
hard
can't
line.
do any of this stuff. And he spouts that, and I'm like, okay, either you're ignorant. Like when you look that up, either he's lying or he's being an idiot in that situation.
Yeah, I mean,
bought
there's
out. Let's just-
so
Told you,
look.
they flash a lot of money.
Which would say
Well,
he's
big name.
lying.
money talk.
Yeah.
Qatar money.
Yeah.
Qatar
Those
money.
dudes got money.
You don't
a little
realize-
bit less because I read they
Most people don't
they
even
took
know.
out a little bit more
Hey.
LNG capacity.
There's a lot of people who don't even know what
Yeah.
Qatar is. It's
Well,
got a ton of money.
Qatar is involved in our colleges so bad. But anyway, before we move on, just
Only about it's a tiny country. Arkansas is bigger than Qatar.
yeah,
man.
it's crazy.
Yeah,
But
billions.
Sitting
before
on a pile.
before we move on, I just wanted to. I looked it
My
up.
goodness.
Women significantly outnumber men 2-1.
It's a big problem.
66% to over 80% of long-term missionaries.
The big problem.
This is from the Gospel Coalition. This isn't from just somebody that made it up. Like, I mean, that's insane. That's disheartening, man.
which is why it's like
And you're not a woman is not going to evangelize a Muslim man.
it's not
No,
gonna
they
happen.
wouldn't listen to her.
It's not gonna
They
happen.
would be like, put this over your head before I. Yeah.
I'm laughing right now too because there's women out there right now who's mad at me, and I can think of a few in my mind. How dare you say that, Cole? That's so. I dare you as a woman to go to the streets of Cairo and try to evangelize a Muslim.
Please don't.
Please
don't.
I mean,
don't
he's
do it.
daring you, but please don't
Don't
try
do
it.
it.
Don't do it.
Yeah, yeah.
But feminism, why is feminism not surviving
It's
in
a lie.
the Middle Eastern countries?
Yeah, no joke.
Feminism has zero power. The only power it has over is weak Christian men. Doesn't have power over Muslim men, which is again why the women who want men go and they get converted to Muslim because there's
There's
men
some
who
manly
act like
guys.
men there.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I say men who act like men. Men are terrible to women in Islam.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
So let me be clear there. But yeah, feminist. Yeah,
From a
this-
secular, like you were saying, from a secular standpoint of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
with no morality or anything, it's act like men.
You know,
they treat women. They how they view women.
Now,
is
this
horrific on
this
it.
isn't a percentage for Muslim countries that they're being sent to, and I think that the reason why you get this number, and this is just me thinking out loud, I haven't researched it. You got a lot of ladies that want to go serve in orphanages and stuff like. So I think that's probably skewing the numbers because they want to
Not
go
really,
serve
no.
and like, but not as
Not really.
much as it should, right?
Why can't you have women in the orphanages and men leading?
That's right. Like,
Everything.
yes, going with
Because
them. That's
we
right.
have
Man,
the feminism has crept into the Western church.
Yeah.
It's just bottom line.
well, that's
The
what
days
yeah.
of Hudson Taylor and William Carey,
man.
yeah.
Yeah, but that's what
Adoniram
leads
Yeah.
into the problem in America right now. The problem in the West in general, whatever, the immigration, the allowing this. Let's be nice. We got to allow men. Where does that come from?
We beat the mess out of what it is to be a
feminism.
man forever. And it's like men are tired of it
yeah,
and they're rebelling against it, but they're not doing it in a biblical way.
Yeah.
And that's the issue that we're having, it seems to me. But it's let men be men.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like but anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that's what y'all are pointing out earlier is that you have an issue that it's people are looking for something that's where they can be men. Like, hey,
That's right.
men want to conquer things. I always say this. Like, and I try to teach us.
We talked about how does Muhammad,
Right.
how does he motivate a bunch of men? Cole, give him the answer, Cole.
How does he by war by the sword?
And
That's right.
And
Oh, you're talking about pre-podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about how does Muhammad motivate his troops?
There are just like every false religion, throw sex into it and you attract
There
men.
you go.
Yeah.
I mean,
In the flesh,
Yeah.
there are two things that get men motivated. Number one, that's the sword. You know,
Yeah.
Manly
rev that
stuff.
F-150 up, brother.
Yeah.
Revving
They make an
F-150 up like a
sword?
four-wheeler.
Whatever.
Number two, beautiful women. And then when you have 70 of them in heaven perpetually.
It's the same.
Forever.
Wait, hold up. Quick question. Do they specify that it's women?
Well, there's a meme on that. That's pretty funny.
Cool.
I'm just
the meme
saying.
is, the meme is
But-
this the Muslim walks into heaven and he opens the door and he sees the 70 virgins, but it's big hairy dude sitting at a computer.
Yeah, edit this one out right there.
but that is funny. But I think that men, like, we're supposed to go out and conquer. We're supposed to be those who see something to be overtaken. In other words, like, some people are asking, why are we going back to the moon? Why? That's pointless. And I'm like, no, that's because that's what men do.
Yeah.
We see something, go take it. Go do it. Like, it doesn't have to have a great reason, right? Like, it's just something that men, like, we should be supportive of those type of things. We should want to do those type of things. It's what discovered this country. It's what mapped this country. People going out and, like, risking their lives just to map the land. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's driven society, Western society, and we gave it up. We said, no, women are right. They're just as good as at all these things, and you know what? They can beat up men just like we can, whatever. You know, you look at movies now and a woman punches a 350-pound guy and he's laid out ice cold on the floor. It's ridiculous, but it's like,
we're gonna have a.
but anyway.
Going off of that, you say in like Christianity is what reins that in. Is
Yes.
what gives men a true sense of purpose of whatever, you know, it's like, okay, how do you do that? How do you take dominion?
Within Christianity, how does that compare to what it is in Islam, in other words? Like, let's not get off the Islam part.
Which part?
So, manliness or manhood or however you want to say it.
Well, I have a point going on, like I was building
Okay,
up to.
go ahead.
What you're saying is, so like I said, I just got done reading this book. But one of the things that's pointed out what you said. What motivated these men to go, the Muslim men to go conquer? It was usually the what they would receive out of it. Is they're going, okay, well, we can get, we're promised this. You know, if we die in war, we get the 72 virgins. If we win in war, we get their women, we get their booty, whatever it is, you know. And that was a common theme through this. And then a common theme of the writings, he's quoting these men who are defending the cities, who are trying to hold back. And the common theme was, we would rather die on this battlefield to protect the women. And it's like, that's what you see the difference there between Islam and Christianity is these men who are those type of men. Hey, we're strong, brave, willing to die on this battlefield, even though we know we're going to die, but we have to because we got to protect our women and children from these people.
What is the difference between biblical manhood versus the Islam? Like, in other words, it's attractive. We just said Islam is attracting men. Why? Because essentially the Western, America has forsaken what it is to be a man. They dog on it. And so as Christians, how does a man look different in Christianity than a man in Islam? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, okay, we agree that men should be men that want to go conquer things. They should be manly. They should be, driven in certain ways, but there's a Christian way. There's a biblical way for that to be worked out. And so what does that look like for a Christian man versus an Islam man?
Yeah, but I think there's two layers of relevance to your question, because number one, biblically Christian men are better men, all around, of course, as we would, that's a non sequitur. We would say that. Yeah. I agree with that in Christianity, because we're not going to say, Biblically Christian men are more men than Islamic men because we're gentle to women. Yes. Islamic men.
I agree.
There's two things that are very unclean in Islam. Number one, dogs. Number two, women. The way that women are oppressed in Islam, which is why it's so funny. One of many reasons why it's so funny that Democrats would stand up for Islam.
And feminists.
Right. Feminists
Which
would
makes no
stand up
sense.
for Islam. Doesn't make sense to any of y'all. Like Free Palestine, an LGBTQ person holding up a flag that says Free Palestine. More like get thrown off a roof in Palestine. Christian men are gentle to women. They also stand up for what is right, truly. They have a theory of just war, not just all-out war. And so there are unjust wars and there are just wars, whereas with the Muslim, everything is war. It is a religion of war. Truly, I believe that, and I'll stand by that. Christian men love and have fruits of the Spirit. They have kindness. They have patience. They have peace. They're hard workers. They're innovative, so on and so forth. But practically in our day, as we see among men who claim to be Christian and are Christians, and are men at the same time. I don't know if it's the microplastics in the water or what, but it's just kind of caused us to lose all conviction altogether.
Yeah.
Where we just don't want to stand up for what is right. There's also eschatology that gets in the way. And I won't name names, but there are eschatologies that say that, ultimately we're going to go to heaven. Things here don't really matter. Let's don't try hard.
Yeah.
And the whole fight that we had on Twitter, which we Christian men, we fight on Twitter. Muslims fight in the streets. They truly fight. You got to give it to them. They have real fights. We fight on Twitter amongst one another about like tertiary theologies. And I'm a Christian who loves our nation. The definition of Christian nationalism, I'm not going to get into that because I never read the book or anything like that. But we don't really have a desire to see Christ take over the culture. Whereas why would, in ourselves, why would we not want to see Christian morality take over the judicial system? Why would we not want to see that? How are we arguing against that? Really?
I don't know. It's kind of like, hey, you don't even have to be a post-mill to think that way. Right.
Yeah.
Right. But you don't.
No, you don't.
And here's my point. I'm millennialist. I had a debate with a post-mill. I would have another debate with a post-mill. Because post-mill theology
is that Brandon?
And I love Brandon. Brandon is a good guy.
He is.
Brandon is a good guy. Why would we not want to see Christ take over our culture?
Yeah.
We've made up these silly, weird theologies that have allowed us to be passive, and Muslim men are not passive. The big difference between Christian men and Muslim men, let's sum it up in one word: passivity, Christians; activity, Muslims.
Yeah.
And the other thing, we're talking a lot about missions. The issue is not sending more men. What we need to do, we need to send more men. But when we talk about missionary glory days, we refer to one man. Guess what?
We need better men going. Is what
not
you're
only
saying.
that, but when a Muslim goes over, he's bringing his entire family.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what is better, one or eight? 8 of them. Okay.
Yeah.
But our problem. So there's a whole slew of reasons why biblical Christian manhood by doctrine is better. Truly.
That's fact. Yeah.
In practice, Muslim men just want to try hard for the glory of their God, whereas Christian men have come up, they've developed theologies that give them reasons to not try hard for the glory of their God.
We also forget what we're driven by as Christian men.
Yes.
And I think that when you have a legalistic religion like Islam, you're definitely trying to work for it. If you're not going to die in jihad, then you're not guaranteed anything. It's like, man, I better just try my hardest. And so they're driven. They're going to be driven for that. And yet we're given the free gift of salvation. We earn nothing. We earn nothing at all, and yet we should be driven by that. We should be driven by the love of Christ.
Yeah.
And that's the if I had to simplify it, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, I do think that Cole pointed out the error for sure, and I agree with that error. But I think that the difference between Christian men and Islam is that Christian men are driven by the love of Christ and the love that's been poured out into their hearts. So we go do difficult things. We go do, whether it's war, whether it's to protect, it's to love neighbor. That should be the emphasis, because Christ has loved us first. And so it pours itself out in love.
Yeah.
Although it might take violent acts to enact that love. Does that make sense? Yeah. And so I think that, I agree with everything that Cole said. I guess that's what I was just trying to distinguish is like, properly speaking, if Christians are doing what they should, what's the difference, right? What would you say to that, Brett? Like, I mean, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the blank chair next to me.
Cole stepped out for a second.
Yeah.
He'll be back. Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah, you will.
I think you're right, Jonathan, that ultimately when we're just looking at it, and I think Cole is more saying like
where we're at now.
Yes, there is
and
such a weakness and a gap in biblical manhood, especially here in the West and in the States. But if you look in the Bible, man, and we just read through the Gospels, and I've definitely been on a biblical manhood kick. Anybody who knows me, it's like I'm talking about this all the time. You read through the Gospels, and one thing that strikes me is that Jesus Christ, looking at the masculinity of Christ, the manliness of Christ,
that's good.
There is no other more manly guy than Jesus Christ. And honestly, he's so manly. It's if you were sitting in a room with him when he says the things he says to his enemies, you would be very uncomfortable and fearful. And I mean, the one thing that I see of him is you see in Christ the perfect blend of absolute tenacious, fierce boldness.
Yeah.
And no fear of man.
Yes.
Just say the truth. At the same time, such love and compassion and humility.
Yeah.
And such a shepherd.
Yes.
The good shepherd who protects his sheep, who lays his life down for his sheep. And one thing that you see in Christ, I noticed this, and the Mormons get weird with this and stuff, but it's like, look at how many women follow Christ, because they see something there that this one is safe. He's very safe. We can trust him. He can protect us. Yeah. He's a true shepherd,
Mm-hmm.
and the wolf, the comes to steal, kill, and destroy, And I think that those two paradigms are there in the Christian man and the Muslim man, and it's the fundamental difference between Christianity and Islam. And I think you were putting your finger on it about it's love, the love thing. In Islam, the emphasis is on obedience. It's on obey these laws.
It's on law.
Laws.
It's on law, which will lead into
cold.
We're gonna have.
No love. There's no personality. It's a cold obedience. And if you hear these Muslim guys talk, man, go on YouTube and listen to some of these Muslim sheikhs. There's one guy in like Saudi Arabia, speaks perfect English. You can listen to the crazy stuff the guy's saying. But they're always asking just like how much they can basically get away with. Is this permissible? Is this permissible? Can I have 4 wives? Can I have 6 wives? Is that permissible? It's all about like how much can I do and get away with and not be sinning. And to the true biblical Christian man, he's about love. He's about loving his wife, loving his children, loving his neighbor. And that's what you see in Christ.
When you're driven by, like I was saying before, when you're driven by the love of Christ that's been poured out in your heart, you will protect. You will do the hard things.
You fight out of love.
Yes, it's not to
for the sake of love.
Yeah, whereas Islam, that's not it. And
it's for selfish gain and to conquer and to earn the love of God. I mean, truly.
Yeah, they are trying to earn it.
Islam, there is that aspect to Islam. It's a works-based religion to where there's no assurance of salvation. It's pray harder, try harder, fight harder. Maybe if I go kill these guys, then God will love me. And it's like, no, Christianity, we love because he first loved us.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we do what we do. And that's why we're willing to lay our lives down.
That's right.
For the sake of love.
That's really good. I think that, So that we stay on course here, we're trying to just talk about Islam as
it's going to be a 7-hour podcast.
Right. So we kind of laid some foundations of kind of like, okay, is it just over there? No, it's like, why be concerned about it if it's just over there? Well, it's not just over there, and they're not going to leave you alone just because you're over an ocean or whatever. And we've discussed all that, although some people tend to think that if we just mind our own business, we'll be fine. So let's talk about it in terms of, let's kind of move into what's going on right now, the political realm, what we see, the war in Iran and things like that. And we see a lot of claims made. I don't, and maybe some of us in here even disagree with the Iran war or not. I don't know. We didn't talk about that before.
Buddy, let's buckle up.
But
We're about to be throwing
10-hour podcast.
throwing punches at each other.
But all that being said,
Nothing like a good fight.
Did I tell you they love me in Iran? They love me. They love me over there.
I guess I'm more concerned about the aspect of the claims of Islam as it, like, okay, you could disagree with the war and still have facts on your side as far as it relates to Islam and their relationship to America and stuff like that. And so I guess I know that we had some questions that were lined up, and I don't have them. So I mean, I know that Matt had some stuff that he wanted to talk about for sure.
Yeah.
And anyway, I just wanted to see if we could get through some of those.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, I guess we could go off of that. So going off of that kind of is one of the common talking points now, and we've kind of been hitting on this, is like what you were just saying. I think this deals with all of this, is they say, leave the Middle East alone. Or the really common one right now is, it's not just right now, it's been around for 50 years plus.
Yeah.
Is, well, the Middle East is the way it is because of Israel. Is because Israel's there, taking their land or whatever it may be, or the West taking the oil.
Yeah, if we just would have left them alone.
Yeah, if we just leave them alone. Same with, the only reason we care about Iran is because oil or Israel, or it's got to be these very black and white views of the Middle East. And so I guess the question would be like, I mean, just to show my cards, is I think that's idiotic. Honestly, I think there's slight truths in some of those things. There can be
tidbits of truth in the error. Yeah.
But like, what's kind of your, like, do you think that's reasonable takes at all, or do you think it's just kind of absurd?
That the reason why we're involved in the Middle East is because of oil? Is that?
Well, that if we just leave the Middle East alone, it would be this like peaceful. I think of someone like Dave Smith. Smith, several other people have kind of said this. I've heard say Islam is not a threat. Here's I guess a better question. Islam is not a threat to the West. And if we just left them alone, if we just like, the reason these places are the way they are is because of Western influence.
Yeah. If we just would have left them alone, it would be fine.
Like they're a bear that's just hibernating, and we're just poking them with a stick. Like it's all of Western.
Yeah.
Like if we would have never got involved with them, we were just over here. It would.
Yeah. I mean, I've literally heard this say, it doesn't matter if they get nukes. It doesn't matter because if we just left them alone, it'd be fine.
Yeah. All right. So I would almost bet I have a little bit of a differing view than what you guys have on the Iran war for different reasons. But we're rambling. Yeah. I would ramble like for a long time to explain why. A couple of things is number one, Islam in its origin was a religion of war. So there would be war in the Middle East no matter what.
That's right.
Number two, Islam is a threat to the West. But to be clear, the reason why right now Islam is a threat to the West is because of globalism. And so it's because of bad politicians in our country. If we didn't have bad politicians like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris who just had open border policies.
Yeah.
And if we didn't demonize nationalism as if it's racist, then Islam would not be multiplying in the West right now.
It wouldn't be.
It wouldn't be multiplying even in the UK.
But it doesn't mean that the people overseas wouldn't still hate us.
Right. It doesn't mean that they wouldn't hate us, but it wouldn't have a footing in the West
That's right. Yeah. I agree.
Nonetheless, so who's at fault and this is Raymond Ibrahim's thesis, who's at fault right now is the politicians. But Islam is a threat
Unfortunately,
to the West.
we elect them, though.
Right. We do elect, well, yeah, sort of.
Sometimes.
Sort of. Islam is a threat
Pass
to
the
the
Save
West.
Act.
Islam
Right.
is a threat to the West because it is a legal religion and its law is incompatible with the U.S. Constitution.
That's right.
It's just a threat to the West. No matter how you look at it, it's a threat to democracy.
Yeah.
It's a threat to the West. And it's funny because you can tell who's lying because the Democrats claim they're all about democracy, yet they want to have open door policies for people like Muslims who are not Democrats at all.
So you're hitting on something.
Yeah,
there.
but let me keep.
I'll
rambling.
let you finish.
Let me keep
Yeah.
rambling here. Number 2, to go into it a little bit, if we just left them alone, there would be a whole lot of turmoil in the Middle East, even still, because there's a
Yes.
thing called Sunni versus Shia, and Saddam Hussein, his weapons of mass destruction, which he did not have, at least as of 2001, even much earlier than that. And there's sources for that. There's citations to that.
Yeah.
But why did he not just come out and openly say he doesn't have weapons of mass destruction? His biggest enemy, and this is a theory, it's a strong theory by one author, was that his biggest enemy was not the West, but it was the
It was
East.
fellow Muslims. He didn't want to be weak.
Such as, right. And there was a war between Sunni versus Shia, which he was a secular Sunni at best, Saddam Hussein. 1980 through 1988, Iraq versus Iran, Sunni versus Shia. A whole slew of reasons as why we could see, even if we just left them alone, there would be a lot of explosions happening because there's a thing.
And if they got nuclear weapons, it wouldn't be great.
Yeah, it'd be Sunni versus Shia. There'd be bloodshed no matter what, even if we were not involved. Now, there's a couple of there's a yes and no to the question that you initially asked, Matt, because who is at fault as to the reason why Muslims and Islam, by and large, in the Middle East right now is so angry? Well, if you look at the start of Islam, Muhammad developed the religion thinking that all the Jews and even maybe Christians would think, hey, like this is a good religion we can take in, da 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 da. Well, he was persecuted, whole 9 yards. He has to flee to Medina, which 622 is the first year of Islam. When he flees to Medina, goes to Medina, he builds a militia there. His doctrine changes from don't compel them to, oh, by the way, compulsion actually really works. So let's go back to Mecca with the sword and try that out. I won't ramble about.
Try that out.
I won't.
Let's see how that one works.
Yeah, it worked out well.
It worked for him.
So historically speaking, no, if we left Islam alone in the Middle East, that things would just be tranquil in the Middle East is wrong. Nonetheless, I do think there are certain contributing factors to what the West has done, whether either in perception or in practice, was wrong.
That's fact. I don't disagree with that.
And if we were to have a Muslim in the room right now, and I would be, again, totally clear, like there are some things we should understand from what they would bring up as to major errors the West has committed that has caused some bitterness in the East, West versus East conversations.
This isn't the West is perfect and U.S. has been perfect in foreign policy.
And I don't get into the Crusades a whole lot, but let's look at modern day. And there's one thing that you have to bring up in the modern day, if we were to build a steel man and not a strong man, as to why the East, Islam, would be angry with the West.
Yeah.
Again, in doctrine, they are imperializing, and even without the stuff that the West has contributed, there would be like this religiously driven anger. They're called to hate those who are not the Fidels, who are Muslims. Right. But one of them is started shortly after World War I. It's called the League of Nations, which the U.S. was not involved in directly, but President Woodrow Wilson spoke of in a speech that there should be some sort of formalized leadership of the West leading the East into what we'd call democracy. I'm speaking.
Yeah, I mean, Bush was into that.
Yeah, he was. Well, yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, he was. Well, and so there's the League of Nations that was founded. It was formalized and official by 1920. There was a meeting in 1919 in Paris. 1920, it's undergo. Everything's moving forward. There's something called Article 22 of the League of Nations, which is where Western nations who were more developed were given mandates. They called them mandates, where and it's two different countries that lead the way, France and Britain. and they're given mandates over tiers of countries. So it's not maybe tiers. Google this. It's not tiers. There's tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Tier 1 is more developed, almost ready to go. Tier 2 is like not quite there, has a lot of work to. Tier 3 is completely, you're almost cannibals, like you're far away from civilization. But in Article 22, Middle Eastern countries were divvied up and led by either France or Britain into becoming civilizations after the fall of the Ottoman Empire. So the Ottoman Empire falls, it crumbles, and there's a large body of land that is left without any sort of government or leadership after the fall of the Ottoman Empire. And so what do we do? And in the West, maybe in good intentions, wanted to, instead of leaving these countries up to themselves, just complete lawlessness like Somalia, they said, we're going to lead these countries into these civilizations. I repeated that a couple of times just to be clear. And so Britain is given the mandate over Palestine, which would be all the way from the Western Strait, Gaza, Israel, all the way over to Jordan. So Jordan, as we know it today, was not a country until, I believe, 1943, maybe 1948. And that came from kind of a result of this Article 22 of the League of Nations. Well, you can Google it, you can chat GPT, it doesn't matter. And we could even have some sympathy on this. How Middle East, how Arabs and how Muslims would view that is, we had this guise of we're trying to help them, but actually we're just trying to take control of them and keep control of them perpetually through this Article 22 of the League of Nations.
So I'm looking at the League of Nations, and I just pulled it up.
Right.
Yeah, I got it pulled up too.
Woodrow Wilson, but it says that U.S. refused to join it.
We didn't, like I said, we didn't join it.
Yeah, okay.
We just kind of encouraged it.
I got you.
Who the two countries that led this were Britain and France. So France had Syria and Lebanon. Britain had the Palestinian region all the way maybe as far as Iran.
And
don't quote
it
me.
it was replaced by the United Nations, by the way.
Later on.
Yes.
Right.
Which we know.
How effective has that been? Right.
Right.
They've been a solid group.
Exactly.
Right.
I agree with you. I'm looking it up right here.
But if you're a young Muslim or Arab man, you look at that and see these Western people who thought that we were too dumb to handle our own countries after this empire fell. And then there's other things that a lot of stuff I'm leaving out that was led into that, where it does appear to be a guy's, they use this quote, sacred trust of civilization, but they kind of tarried a little bit too long and had a little bit too much of an overreach over serious things. And this did lead to conflict. Yeah. You're thinking, and I don't have necessarily, I don't have a defense on this, I'll say, but here is this land, Palestine, that has a lot of Arabs. Then all of a sudden, a lot of Jews appear, and a lot of Jews are being imported into this place. And then Israel comes in, and then the Palestinian mandate is ceased by Britain. Shortly after that, like hours, I want to say, was the Arab Revolt and the Israeli-Arab War of 1948 or so. Yeah. So there's proof historically that there was conflict and a lot of bad perception of all of Article 22 because of wars happening over this. So that's a small little thing. But to go back to your question, if there would have never been an Article 22, if there would have never been a League of Nations, if there would have never been any of that, would there be peace in the Middle East?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
Yeah, well, I think that shows from
just go before the West got there, man.
That's what
I mean, just look at
what you just said.
Hundreds of years and the thousands of years.
But 1,000 years. But I'm thinking, look at, like you said, just to, not that's all good. I like that. And I think it's good points
that we should understand, be understanding of.
Yeah. Yes. And it's not, like I said, it's not like we're sitting there arguing, like, obviously I'm not going to side with France or Britain. They're, a bunch of losers. So, but,
you're about to say something else.
Yeah. But, and really what that is, I was about to say something else.
We were about to get kicked off of YouTube for sure.
Yeah. This is going to be like a long bleep. But, I mean, in general, what that sounds like is it's globalism. It's thinking that we can go into these other places and like we'll just enforce.
We'll go to Afghanistan and
that's the biggest mistake, And I was,
but even before that though, was get to is even before that. Look at what you were just saying a while ago. Turkey wasn't always Turkey. like you said, it once was Ephesus. These parts were Ephesus and all these other nations stuff involved too. All these places, they weren't warring against anyone before Islam came about.
Right.
It's like all of those regions were once all Christian. Right. And now they're all Muslim. So this idea of like that it's just this and I'm specifically speaking to they warred against each other after that time period too and stuff and during that time period. But this idea of, like I said, I've heard over and over again recently is the problem with Iran is strictly the West. It would be this this Garden of Eden level of peaceful
which
place.
is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Look at I'm sorry to cut you off, Jonathan.
No, go ahead.
But look at the empires before then that fought each other in that
Alexander
land.
the Great.
But even
Anybody
after
ever heard of that guy?
So
Genghis Khan. He wasn't a Muslim.
He was, yeah.
No, he was a Muslim later on.
Later on, but
the
he was
Fatimids,
a warlord.
The Fatimids versus the other Muslims that happened before that, and then the Fatimids are overtaken by the Mamluks, who are also Muslims fighting each other.
Well, I'm sure it's a pretty bad perception, and thinking back, it's embarrassing, quite honestly, that I as a kid or younger guy seeing Bush, you were standing behind, it's like, yeah, that's right, spread democracy, man, and then you realize it's like,
you get a tattoo of democracy.
Yeah, I mean, you get older, and it's like the things that he said were ridiculous.
Yeah, he's a globalist.
Like, hey, if we just give Iraq the chance just to vote, man, then democracy will spread, and that's what these people want. It's like these people don't want that because they're Islamic. They don't want
they have no
the Western
democracy.
That's right. Yeah. It's incompatible with American values, and that's what you're saying. And that's the thing is like, we were trying to spread democracy to places that reject it theologically,
which I don't believe.
At their very core.
Yeah, I think that was a lie. I think that was a facade.
It could have been.
I doubt we were trying to spread
democracy.
But to your point.
Yeah, but leaving that
could
aside.
Could have been the pile of oil they were sitting on.
What? let's
the three biggest oil reserves.
I really care about
that never hurts, right? Yeah. Let drill, baby, drill. Anyway, but kind of something that we're kind of not really, we're kind of hinting around. Okay, is we said Islam is incompatible with America's foundations, with the society, with the Constitution, the society that was birthed here, essentially. It's incompatible with that. In a free nation that has freedom of religion, do we have the right and should we kick Islam and Muslim religion out?
This is a big.
I did a lot of talking on the last one. I'll let you start on this one. But I'll let you know. I will let you know. I get fired up about this question. Okay?
I know.
I like the way
you know what
heard
fires,
it before.
guys, this is like not been enough late at night.
Right, yeah.
You got to be...
just go ahead and go in there.
No. I don't want to do all the talking.
I don't really have a lot.
So I get a lot of fired up. You don't have a lot of what?
On this one, it's like, should we kick them all out? I mean, the thing is, man, like I was listening to Raymond
guys,
Ibrahim
I'm about to take the mic out and just start preaching.
The thing is like, dude, that is not gonna happen, man. But
it's not going to happen. But should it happen?
What's not going to happen?
I mean, are you talking about round them all up and kick them all out?
I'm not talking.
That's not what he asked.
I'm not asking
that's
that
not what
necessarily.
I would propose.
I wouldn't say, hey, the people that are here that is like kick them out or whatever. But
round them up.
Round them, yeah.
Have a roundup.
Put them on those B-52 bombers and fly them over.
Founding.
Do you realize the logistical operation there?
So
it would cost almost as much as the Iran war right now.
I know, dude.
Here's my point: is when this country was founded, there's no way in the world that the founding fathers would have ever allowed Islam to take a foothold.
Never.
And that's fact.
That's a threat.
And it's a threat, and the fact of the matter is we have separation of church and state, quote unquote, which is never whatever. I'm not getting into that, but
right.
But the point is that we had laws that we were talking about it earlier, and Matt was mentioning it, and like if you were Roman Catholic, you couldn't even serve on the city, like you couldn't be
if you were Baptist,
a politician, you couldn't.
Yeah, they didn't like Baptists.
Yeah, no joke. So there were very strict guidelines. You could never be an atheist and be any kind of politician or leader. And so their influence was cut down by, hey, if you don't hold these values, then you're not going to be heard and you're not going to have the influence. And so in terms like that, yes, you without becoming a theocracy, how can America protect itself from Islam? And now I'm talking aside from, like, obviously we know the spread of the gospel. Obviously that's the answer.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about more political, more practical. Let's think through this as Christians. If somebody stood up there and said, "Vote for me, and I will outlaw Islam," would you vote for?
100%.
You just that's what I wanted to hear. Okay,
and I'm like, vote.
100%.
that's Brett shaking his head.
Yeah. Go ahead, Brett. Take it away.
Yeah, dude.
I'm gonna start saying some dumb stuff.
You can. It's. I mean, we can always edit it, but
no.
no. I mean, I think it's fully. I think this is.
It's a question, by the way. It's
Yeah.
not a statement.
No.
Very abused
Yeah.
terms. Separation of church and state.
Yeah.
Is the atheist, the secularism, the globalist stuff is abused that beyond belief. Has
For
taken
sure.
that and ran with it and made it.
It doesn't
mean things-
exist in the way that they think it exists.
Never,
anymore.
they just
Man.
disregard all of our founding fathers. Everything is like that doesn't matter. Besides that one little line that they try to.
Yeah.
But and then another one would be religious freedom. Is they say, well, we're a country of religious freedom, and to prove that is, no, we're not. To an extent, we are, but it depends on what level.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
we don't allow extreme radical cults of, it's like look at the history of you could bring up Waco now, there's a lot of problems with that, but in general of like you can't just do what you want. It's like there are laws, there is a morality that law is dictating morality.
If your religion is a threat to the very foundations of your society, then that is technically an enemy.
Yeah.
Am I wrong in saying it that way?
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
Brett, what would you say to that?
Man, this is a big hole. If
If you're uncomfortable with it, man, that's cool.
Here's
But
the
yeah,
thing: is like, I'm really getting into the main thing here is not, and this is even like Raymond Ibrahim. We've talked about him a couple of. He's good, but he'll even say the problem is not Islam. The problem is weak politicians just let everything.
yeah,
And the globalism, man. The globalism and just this world that we're living in is not, Islam's in and these guys are out and this I am a much more a fan of it's like the whole thing about, well, if I'm Donald Trump, I'm not Donald Trump. I'm never going to be Donald Trump. Me and you are never going to be sitting in the White House doing this.
I hope
and that.
you never eat a well-done steak with ketchup.
Yeah.
Because I'm just saying he does that. So
But
go ahead.
I think we should focus on what can we actually do at the grassroots level. I'm much more of a fan of, and I think we should promote building up communities amongst ourselves of strong families, strong convictions,
That's good.
strong Christian convictions, and but yeah, if I'm building a community, and I've got say so over who's going to be here or not, then I wouldn't. Then I wouldn't let Islam in. I wouldn't let it in my house. I wouldn't let it in because it is a threat. It is danger. And here's what I should we round them up and ship them all back?
That wasn't.
I mean,
just
I never said that
that wasn't
technically.
the question.
Maybe.
But I would like for you to answer that question.
maybe I don't think that's going to happen. But
I don't necessarily think it should happen. I think more of in like what you're saying, from the household moving out is a ban, not necessarily like we're going to round these people up or something because you hold to this particular, but saying like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that in society. Same thing, which I think we could get into a deeper discussion across the board of like, no, you can't march down the street and do this the same way as, hey, we're not going to allow you to put Sharia courts in. You know, we're not going to allow any of this.
Here's what I would say. I would give you a practical example of, let's take a look at Nigeria. Nigeria is a great example of what do we do? What does Christianity do when it clashes with Islam? Nigeria, it is a lot of Muslims, but it's about 50-50 Muslim and Christian. It's very close. The Muslims are in the north, the Christians are in the south.
Yeah.
And the Muslims, lo and behold, are literally going into villages and chopping people up with machetes. You know, it's absolutely despicable. Yeah. And here's what I would say about if we find ourselves like, and from what I understand, it's like the Christians in the South are not doing much to help the Christians in the North. And what I understand about Nigerian Christianity too is they've got this kind of version of Christianity where we're not going to be involving ourselves in politics and trying to have
keep
any
your
kind
head
of a
down
say
and
so.
just
Keep
yeah,
your head down.
yeah.
And guess what? Well, the Muslims do. And then when the Fulani herdsmen start causing massive problems, you have no power, no authority, no nothing to do anything. But I tell you what, it's like if we're here in Arkansas, if we heard our brothers and sisters in Missouri were getting slaughtered, I'm not waiting for Donald Trump to come save me. I'm going to pick
up your guns and go,
the
bro.
F-150s, and we're going to go up there and handle it. And this is what I say is about where I think we need to think far less about what's going on in Iran and think about what is going on in our households.
I agree.
And how
That's
we can
fact.
strengthen our households to make a difference. And I really believe that the family is much more of a powerful force than we think. Is that families and churches. And the reality is we do live in this like globalist world. And by the way, it's like, you realize like places like Saudi Arabia will pay you if you're a Westerner with any kind of skill sets. They're trying to build their empire over there. They'll pay you like hundreds of thousands of dollars tax free to come over in their country and build their empire. It's like,
I'm on my way, Saudi.
it's like, hey, what if we pull the same thing on them and import 100,000 of us over there?
Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
Awesome.
The thing is though, is that I think and ultimately the gospel is the solution.
The gospel is the solution.
You
yes.
have to lead with the world, the heart change, the worldview change. That's the difference between Islam and Christianity. Is Islam, conquers with law and swords and this and that, and Christianity is affecting things at the heart change level. Now that does mean there is a time to grab your gun and fight.
So I guess I think that what you just said had a lot of wisdom in it. I like that because it really does focus into what we can do. Because the fact of the matter is that's a problem that should have been dealt with in the past. We should have never allowed it to get a foothold. It should have been illegal to move here and be an immigrant here with an incompatible worldview to our society. It should have never been allowed to take a foothold. I don't know how you really deal with it now in a very practical sense. I don't see, like you were saying, I don't see everybody being gathered up and just shipped out. But I love the point that you brought up, that if Christian households were Christian households that built communities, because Islam is building communities here.
That's right.
We're not. And it goes back to just like what Cole was saying at the very beginning, is Christian men have decided to lay down on the job and just let things go by. And we should be more proactive. We should be the ones having more kids. We should be the ones that are pro-family, not worried all about this. It's all about me. And the whole thing that America's went to, it's just like, oh, forget having kids. I just want to enjoy myself, whatever. It's like, I'm just looking for that boat that I can get when I retire or whatever. But anyway, we really need to focus on the things that matter.
And that's the thing is we brought up like Islam's the fastest growing religion and they're growing, purely by birth rate is the thing. Now I'll say this, that Christianity
Are you saying
doesn't
baptize
grow
your babies?
by birth. We're not Presbyterians. Jesus says you have to be born again, but I will tell you this. We just had a baptism service.
Yes. Yep.
Now, who was it that got baptized?
Almost every single one of them were kids of people in our church.
And that tells you something.
Minus two of them. Yeah.
That it's not all of it. The gospel and the kingdom of heaven doesn't just spread by the family. Right. But the family is a very, very powerful tool and a very natural means of spreading the faith. And now you just think about this too, and the whole big families thing, and but I mean, the one thing about Islam is they play the long game, and we are so short-sighted, and we're a product of our culture. We're thinking far too short-term, but just think about if all the Christians had 4 or 5 kids and their kids had 4 or 5 kids, 100 years from now, that's a lot of people.
Yeah. That's a lot of people if they're raised in the foundational truths.
Men being men really
leading their home. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to interrupt
like you said, men leading their home, men discipling their kids, seriously discipling their kids.
Yeah.
And training their kids to go out in all the world and make disciples, then it would be talking about a much different picture. And here's the thing too, is like, okay, they let everybody in. I don't know about what foreign policy to make, but I can tell you this, if you're a Christian, Jesus says, all authority in heaven and on earth is mine. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations.
Yeah.
Here we are, we're spending, millions of dollars on missionary budgets. And these people are getting shipped to our back door.
That's right.
We ought to be making we ought to be really thinking hard about making strategies and going here. I mean, man, when I was living in California, there was Afghans, there was people from Palestine, there was, I can't go to Afghanistan, man.
Right.
I can't get in. The Taliban's not gonna let me in. But here comes this Afghan guy with 14 people living in his house. Yeah, that's running away from the Taliban.
Right.
And he's my neighbor.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because as Christians, like, okay, so I disagree with illegal immigration. I disagree with the fact of like having open borders. But at the same time, when we are, if we're gathering people to ship them out at a camp, then my take has always been, where are the missions going to those people? Like, although we might be shipping them out, are they not people gathered together to go witness to? And it's like, it's almost like we forget about that aspect. Right. And it's like, just because we're enforcing the law and we're doing what's right for our society doesn't mean that we forsake the gospel. Both things can be true. Right. You can want the law to be enforced and yet go to those people that are breaking that law and give them the gospel. We do it in prisons all the time.
Even if you kick them out.
That's right. That's what I'm saying.
If you wanted to go the roundup route, I'm fine with it, as long as you put a couple of preachers there on the bus preaching all the way out.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's kind of a little bit of a difference.
But it's a both and.
It's not either or.
I'm a patriot. We need to protect our country. There's foreign security. There is.
Well, I feel like people get into the hate. Like it's like they get mad about a situation and then they just want to hate on the illegal immigrants. And it's like, bro, you're called to love them. And it's like, I get it. You can enforce the law. You can do what's right, but also spread the gospel in love. And it doesn't have to be either or. It's both and.
Yeah. Anyway, it's the roles of the church and the state.
Yeah.
The role of the church is to spread the gospel and, make disciples of the nations. The role of the state is to wield the sword.
Yeah.
Anyway, Cole, you got anything to say about that?
Cole's got some opinions.
I can see it.
He's been holding his breath.
Yeah. Sure.
Take another sip of that thing, man.
So so this is what I love about Brett. If there is like law and gospel that's a person, he's gospel, I'm law. I love that, Brett.
It's both and, man.
I love
it's both.
I'm
and.
not against the law either, by the way. I'm not against militaries.
Yeah,
and,
right.
And I'm not saying I'm not for doormat Christianity, by the way.
No.
Right.
Now, and I would say this: the reason that Muslim is not today, and they're working really hard to give this up, that they're not Muslim today, is because probably a bunch of Catholic dudes fought them off
For sure.
That's a
because
fact.
they tried
For sure.
to take it over with the sword.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So don't hear me wrong. There is a time for the sword.
Yeah.
Come on, Pope Leo.
Let me
Just kidding. Go ahead.
history. Hear me out on, because this won't be long-winded, but I have a lot to say on this.
It's gonna be. We're gonna be here for a while.
Yeah.
All right.
And I remember your initial question. I want to answer it. History is so much more complex than what we realize, because that is such a
Yes.
good point, that there is certain credence we have to give to the Catholic Church and the Catholic leadership, that there were wars fought where if they weren't fought, Muslims would just take it over.
That's right.
Here's the other thing. And the root of the question is, do you ban Islam in America? And the simple answer is, of course you ban Islam in America.
I would agree with that statement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where we are wrong, especially in evangelicalism and Protestantism, is we have such a deficient theology of the sword, because there is the sword in the state.
Yeah.
Or the sword in the gospel, the sword in the church. We look at it as the state, the separation of church and state. There is no separation of church and the state, in the sense that the church has no say over the state. Neither does the state have a say over the church.
We call the state into account.
We do.
Yeah.
And the state protects the church, biblically speaking. There is not a separation in the sense that there's a chasm between the two.
Yeah.
There is actually a relationship between the two.
Yes.
And
A relationship, but not intermingled.
Yes, right. They're intermingled in ways, but they are not in the sense that they're distorting one
Crossover,
another.
right. Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
They do not distort one another, because we are saved by grace alone, through faith alone, in Christ alone. Nonetheless, the state has a responsibility given by God over the large body of people, both believer and unbeliever. There's a responsibility given to the deacon of the state, Romans chapter 13. Literally,
Yeah, a
the word used
legitimate
there.
government is one that does that.
Yes. So here's what we have. We have a lot of Christian men who have a deficient view of the state, and what the reason why I bring that up is, we don't have this debate on this particular question with Muslims. Ask a Muslim if Sharia law is compatible with the U.S. Constitution. Ask them.
Yeah.
The answer is no. And
No,
they
yeah.
know it, and they're embracing it.
Just look at the UK. They have their own other set of laws.
Right. I know. Yeah.
Ask Mamdani if the U.S. Constitution or the Sharia law is compatible with the Constitution. Ask him directly. And this is where I think Dave Smith is correct. Just listen to the terrorist of what they have to say.
Yeah.
Ask Mamdani if Sharia law, if Muslim doctrine is compatible with the West.
Yeah.
And this is where, for one, the debate is not with us and Muslims on this question. The debate is with us and Democrats, which Democrats are not listening to this podcast. But the debate is with us.
They
I'd
wouldn't
be
have made it this far.
I'd be happy if anybody listens to this podcast.
The debate is with the debate is with us and nominal Christians. Nominal Christians are the ones who are going to be arguing with us on whether or not we should ban Islam, over whether or not
Yes.
Islam is compatible with the West.
Right.
If Islam is compatible,
We
with
should just be able to
America.
say the truth. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah, we should say the truth. But
Yeah.
nominal Christians and Christian men who have either bad theology, which bad theology leads to weakness, and so Christian men who have bad theology of the state are inherently weak.
Yeah.
And I'll stand by that.
I'll put my name on that one.
I had and I'm serious.
Send it.
I'm serious on this. I made a post at the first of this year and it was simple. 4-word.
I remember this.
4-word.
I love the comments.
Ban Islam in America. You know who argued with me? Which a couple of secular men. It's okay they're on welfare. They're on made up disability. I'm not going to argue with those men because they've forfeited their man card.
Right. Okay.
But there were Christians who were arguing with me.
Yeah.
Within the definition, within the meanings of my post, there is underlying is the question: is Islam compatible with America? And the reason why I say ban Islam in America is because it's not compatible with America.
It's an enemy of the very basis of America.
I'm not saying ban Hinduism in America. I'm saying ban Islam in America because it's.
You're not saying ban Buddhism.
No, yeah. By its definition, it is incompatible.
It's a competing government.
A mosque, in my book, is the same as an abortion mill in America. It is an embassy of a foreign government, literally. Because, and it sounds weird when
probably
I say this.
Qatar.
It sounds weird when I say this, but mosques are buildings that are embassies of foreign governments.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not a foreign government that you can find in another country. It's a foreign government that you can find in a religion that encompasses more than just countries.
You can't separate their religion from their politics.
You cannot. If you were to chat GPT or Perplexity, I use Perplexity. If you were to use AI and simply ask the question, is Sharia law compatible with the U.S. Constitution? It would say no. And you cannot separate Sharia law with Islam.
You can't.
You cannot separate radical Islam with pure Islam. And if you were to ask, drive up 12 hours, it's 12 hours from here, 11 and a half hours, 12 hours from here, Dearborn, Michigan, and just ask a simple, regular, average Joe Muslim on the street, is Islam compatible with America? They would say no. So what is the solution to this? So the solution to this is that we as Americans not only have a good view of the gospel, but we have a good view of the state, because you should have both.
You should. I agree.
And with the state comes the sword. When we start speaking about globalism, and globalism is another podcast in and of itself, because we're probably 3 hours deep right now.
And the Industrial Revolution.
A lot of that, which Brett has a lot of stuff that he would offer that's good on like family and stuff like that, that just would take us totally into the deep end. But here's what I have to say on this. When we start talking, when I'm around my friends, when we're groups and stuff, we start speaking like we've quit, like we've given up. It's already over. It's too late.
Yeah, I hate that talk.
It's too late. The Muslims are already going to win. Yeah. The Islamic population, even in the UK, which, by the way, little parenthetical, I think the king, this is my opinion, I think he is a Muslim.
He sure was wearing the Muslim stuff.
When you hear him speak in 1996 and 1998, he sure does sound like a Muslim.
He might not be Muslim, but he's at least trying to show face, sympathize with
I think he's scared
personally,
of him.
He probably is.
I think he's scared of him.
Personally, I would argue that King Charles is a Muslim. Truly. This is just my opinion.
Okay.
In case he were to listen to this
podcast. Conspiracy theories here on the Not Man Enough podcast.
Let me wrap up this rant
King
that I have.
Charles with a Muslim.
No.
Jabbar?
No.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead. King Jabbar.
I'm about to wrap this all up. Like even
Qatar's behind that.
Even at the most advanced Islamic imperialism in modern day, which is the UK, at best they are 15%. There's a few policies that could be changed that we as Christians should push for that would completely halt Islam.
Yeah. Because Stop them coming in.
Islam is at its weakest state right now, historically speaking. It is at its weakest state right now.
Really?
Yet we are so worried about Islam imperializing everything. All we have to do, number one, is ask current citizens and those which birthright citizenship should be completely revised. Let's just say.
Oh, well, it should be intended the way that it was originally written.
Right.
Yeah.
But let's ask, dual citizenship should be done away with. Who
Agreed.
is your loyalty to? Is it to America and to the Constitution, or to your current?
Yeah, I don't care what country you're from. You could be from Israel or wherever. Like, if you come to America, you're an American.
Right.
That's it.
Lyndon B. Johnson's war on poverty and the welfare system should be completely revamped, because the reason why they are taking over the UK is because they can go in and have a bunch of babies and the government pay for all the babies.
Yeah.
That's it.
If they instead have to work for all the babies they're going to have, They have to show loyalty to the country that they're at. They must show disloyalty to all the countries they're leaving and the laws that their home country has, and they're going to have to work for all the babies. There's no more. There's no more taking over the welfare system. And so I'll wrap it up just by saying this: like, we are so far ahead. All we have to do is get rid of globalism, go back to a nationalistic mindset like Hungary or Poland, and we're in the clear. Because globalism, and I'll tell you this, the God of globalism is a weak God and will not last forever. Either the Muslims will take over and their monotheistic nationalistic God with Sharia law will take over, or Americans and Christian men will get rid of, and they'll detox all the microplastics and say, hey, our God is the true God. We're gonna get back to a point of having some conviction, and we're gonna stand up for what's right. We're gonna clear up all these silly policies that not only Kamala, we keep pointing to Kamala and Joe Biden as if they were the first globalists, which Barack Obama,
they were just the worst at their job.
They were. Barack Obama wasn't a globalist until about 2012, because from 2008 to 2012, Barack Obama, he deported far more people than Donald Trump ever could dream of, because he's too busy fighting an Iranian war. George Bush, Matt's mad at me right now because he knows where I'm going.
No.
George Bush was a globalist. Like, globalism is not true. We're not new to globalism right now, but relatively speaking, it's a weak God. All I'm saying is, speaking on the law end, and this is why I say that I'm law, he's gospel. We're both law and gospel. If we cleaned up just a couple of policies very quickly, we stopped worrying about what everybody else think, the Democrats, all that, cleaned up correct a few policies, globalism is over with. The Muslims are not advancing. They're not given this platform to have free advancement, open borders, no free money from the government, just simply by having babies. Islam will not take over the West. We'll become more of a nationalistic society, and we can get back to truly what the U.S. Constitution is.
I don't disagree with anything you just said. I don't think. I have to think of it.
But when we start talking about the Iranian war,
maybe King Charles being an Islam, but okay.
Hey,
but
Matt, and we can do this at the end. We don't have to do this, but please Google what King Charles said about Islam in 1996, please. He sounds like a Muslim.
No.
He sounds like a Muslim.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't know.
One thing I would say.
Hold on. Jonathan said
but one thing I did want to say was, is I think you're totally right on the fact that men have forsaken their theology or their biblical view of what government is and what our role is to it. And I think that, just in case, and just really quick, I'm not getting into all the deep stuff, but remember that John the Baptist called for Herod to repent.
Oh, man, yeah.
Manly guy.
Dude, that's good.
And it's not against Christianity to do that. And somehow we've separated it so much. That's like, no, we don't get involved in that. But we should rise up and call the government to the mat. In Romans 13, we always think that it's just like, hey, we're supposed to submit to any government because they hold the sword. That's not what Romans 13 is saying, in my opinion. Maybe you disagree, but it's not. It's actually laying out what a legitimate government looks like. What a legitimate government looks like. And so it's like, hey, this is the role of the government. That's what it's here for. That's what it's saying. And so it's like, anyway, I don't want to get into all that.
I agree completely.
But all that being said, Brett, I know that we got to be wrapping this up, but Brett, what was you going to say?
Just real quickly is that I think there's a case for this historically, is that wherever Islam would go and conquer, many of the times, it was already weakened. It was weakened. And I mean, like in North Africa, it was weakened by...
We all froze.
We're almost done.
We're almost done. Yeah.
Mamas with babies trying to wrap everything up.
Our wives are calling. But anyway, go ahead.
It was weakened.
They should have known that this wasn't going to be a time-conscious podcast with BD and CD on the same
Dude, we're going to have to do this again. This is fun.
Dude, we had podcasts every night that lasted like 6 hours.
Hours on
it. Just wasn't recorded. Go ahead.
Well, if you look at historically where Islam goes and conquers, they're not civilization builders. They go and
Right.
take one that's already been built, and a lot of times they catch it at a weak moment, and like in North
And then
Africa,
they destroy what's left.
like in North Africa,
Or with the Ottoman Empire, they keep kind of what's cool and keep it going.
That's right.
In
And
North
it's a second.
Africa, there was heretical influence. There was, the Arians and the Trinitarians, and the Arians come in, and so they but it's kind of like and what we're seeing in Europe right now. It is Islam's coming in and it's filling a void. It's kind of like weeds in your yard. I've got all these like terrible stickers in my yard right now. You can't walk in it.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about tech. I'm gonna have to call Michael Johnson to come fix it.
There's a plug for you.
But yeah, I started, Chat GPT. How do I get these stickers out of my yard? The best
Walk on
thing
them.
to get the weeds out of your yard is to get the grass to grow.
Yeah.
And here's what: if we just had a bunch of strong Christianity here and a bunch of strong Christian men, we wouldn't be worried about them coming taking
You
over
were
the
right
West.
about
it's
that.
clearly not going to happen. And not only are we doing that, we're going to come liberate your people who've been in bondage for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And we're definitely not going to sign up for you to come put us in bondage. You know what I mean? I think that's what we're
we
saying.
should be living in the victory of Christ, who has all dominion,
That's right.
and spreading the gospel in light of that.
Yeah.
Christianity.
It's so weak right now. American Christianity, Western
it
Christianity,
is weak,
it's so
and
weak.
that's what it's allowed for this. But you look at, I guess I find myself really frustrated, because it's like I'm frustrated with kind of what's going on here as far as weak men and how we've just allowed essentially feminism just to ruin what it is to be a man and dictate
you
what
know
we
who
believe.
you are.
Yeah.
You know who you are.
But I'm also really getting frustrated as far as just politically how like some people are jumping off the deep end to where it's just insanity. Like there's no facts. There's nothing. It's just like, oh no, man, if we just left Islam alone, they'd be fine. Like we would be fine. And just like everything is, it doesn't matter what it is. Everything's the Jews. Like it doesn't matter it's like it's we must be, and I've been talking to Matt about this a lot. Is we bring disgrace upon Christ, and when we're people not of truth, we must be people of truth.
Right.
Now we can have disagreements on interpretation of certain things and all that. I get that, and like different information, but we must be people of truth. We have to be, because our whole foundation is based off of truth. It's based off of Christ. And when we speak ridiculous lies, ridiculous things that can't exist, like you've done no research, it's just like, do you know what I mean? Like I'm getting frustrated in the other realm too.
No, that's good.
Anyway,
No, that's really, really good.
we must be people of truth, and the truth is Islam's not compatible with America. Islam's not going to leave you alone if you let it alone.
Just ask a Muslim.
Yes.
Just
That's all
ask
you
a
gotta-
Muslim.
yeah.
Truly. If we were to sit a Muslim down in the room and ask him the same questions, he would have the same responses.
Same.
And by the way,
This is why
do
Democrats
they all
and
want
nominal
to come here?
Christians-
Have you thought about this? You people are running, these Somalians.
Yeah.
You guys are running away
They
from a
want to
dump
just-
country, and you want
85%
to bring
of
it
them,
here.
Yeah.
85% of them just want to rob Americans on the welfare system.
The
Not
Leering
work.
Centers. Have you heard about these?
And they like, but what's funny is the pushback we
They're
get
all
on this,
about leering, okay?
What's funny is the pushback we get on this podcast is not gonna be from Muslims. It's gonna be from nominal.
It's going to
Christian
be from Christians that are afraid that we're going post mill.
Yeah.
men. Are you going post mill?
Yeah.
Are you going post mill? No, man. I'm not going post mill.
Have you been listening to Doug Wilson?
That's right.
A little bit.
Yeah, but anyway, man, I could go on for hours But we got to wrap this thing up.
We got mamas knocking on the doors.
That's right.
Literally.
Man, when are you gonna be done with it?
I heard something about my baby screaming or something. I don't know.
That.
But
would get a
last
mama
point,
riled up.
you can wrap this
What we
up.
need to do is send mamas with babies overseas, so they can be all.
We're
riled
apparently
up
sending
for
the women
Lord's
anyway.
sake.
We just
Lots
found
of
out.
women
Yeah.
anyway.
No, we're gonna
anyway.
take them over there, and we're gonna pull the same line on them
Yeah.
after we kick them all out.
We're gonna hit him with the Uno reverse.
That's right.
We're gonna
But
get
anyway,
banned. We're
King
gonna-
Charles. Yeah, you might be right. I'll just leave it at that.
Hey,
Yeah.
for all the listeners, you're thinking is crazy. You're thinking it's wild. Number one,
I wasn't talking about that comment as far as truth anyway.
I think the death of Lady Diana
Oh
is
no.
very strange.
You just look like Donald Trump. Right
We
there.
gotta wrap
All
this
right,
up.
let's wrap this
Like
up before
Donald
we get to
Trump.
But
flat Earth.
also, King Charles is definitely probably, in my opinion, a Muslim.
Maybe. We don't know. Maybe
why I love
so.
this guy.
I'll have to research that.
Hey, we're just saying it like it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, they are important. Quite a bit of Muslims. I'll give you that. Anyway, yeah. Man, join us again if you don't hate us. Even if you do hate us.
Y'all should have known better than to have BD and CD on the same.
I don't,
podcast.
God, man. Hey, this is
Hey,
It's been a
our
blast.
numbers can't tank more than they have. So I mean, it's like- anyway, yeah. Hey, join us next time. Yeah, y'all. Thanks for joining us. By the way, thanks
Yeah.
for coming on. This was
We had a
awesome.
blast.
yeah, this
We-
was so much fun.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll catch y'all later. Bye.